Welcome back to RC Overload, everybody. Today we are taking a look at the all-new, well, sorta new, Dynamite GPS Speed Meter. This thing is really cool. It's got like 9 different modes in it that you can select and monitor while you're driving your RC, or pretty much anything else you can put this in. It's not just designed for RCs. Now you do have 9 different modes in this thing. You have your current speed, your peak speed, your average speed, you have your longitude and latitude reading, your average altitude reading, your peak altitude reading, so if you want to know how high you actually went on a jump, or if you're taking your plane or helicopter and flying it up, or even a drone, you want to know how high you actually are, you can check it with that. You also have your trip meter and a time meter, or just a timer basically. Now what's really cool about all those is you can actually upload them right to your computer and use Dynamite's program to record everything, keep a record of everything, and you can actually see where it is that you were operating your thing right on the map that's displayed on it. But we're going to get more into the program here near the end of the video, show you guys some of the features on it. Anyways. So Dynamite does say that this thing is waterproof. However, they do put in a huge disclaimer as far as what it's capable of actually doing, being waterproof. It's more or less water resistant after you read it and you realize what it actually is capable of being. Now they say you can run it through puddles, wet grass, moist areas, and so forth, and it really shouldn't be a problem. Just dry it off afterwards. But they specifically say, in quotations, don't treat it like a submarine. So don't completely submerge the thing and expect it to work afterwards, basically is what they're telling you. And they even give you approximate times in different weather situations of how long this thing may actually work, like dense fog or submerged in a puddle or something like that. They'll give you those rough approximate times before it probably won't work, which is kind of cool if you think about it. Now this does have about a 4-hour operation time in it, so it does take quite a few hours to charge it. The first time I charged it, it took about 4 hours, 3.5, 4 hours to charge it. After that, I noticed it was more like 2.5 hours to charge it. I have heard that some people actually experienced on the first couple of charges, it took longer, almost 5-6 hours. So I guess it really depends on where the battery is and what you're charging it with ultimately. Now it does come with a wire for you to charge it, but you will need to supply your own adapter for it. It comes with a basic USB cable, just like you would find on most smartphones. However, you're going to need, again, the base if you're going to plug it into the wall, or you can plug it right into your computer in the USB outlet as well. Now the battery it comes with is a LiPo battery. I'm not entirely sure of how big of a LiPo battery it is, or what size it is, but it does say it is LiPo. Now, for those of you really tech-savvy guys that actually want to know the specs on this thing, I pulled out the instructions book, which, by the way, I cut this thing down in half because when you get it, it's going to be like a page, like this big. And it's in all different languages. So, this is the English section. But again, for those of you that want to know the actual specs on it, parallel satellite searching channels. So how many channels, how many satellites it actually searches for is 32. Satellite signal reception sensitivity is negative 159 decibels, or dBm. Not entirely sure what that dBm physically stands for. The update frequency is 0.1 second or 10 hertz. So it's really fast at picking up the actual numbers that you need for speed, the longitude, latitude, and everything like that. It's instant. Some GPS units tend to hesitate and tend to take a while to, update or refresh, but this does it practically instantly. Now, its dimensions are 2.5 inches by 1.5 inches by 82 inches. So, not bad. It's really small, and like I said, it does actually fit into most applications. Now, because of the weight is only 1.6 ounces, you can put this in airplanes and helicopters and drones, and it really isn't going to add that much weight to it, being only about an ounce. Now, like I said, it is light, but the cool part is the backing is nice and flat, so you can add a piece of Velcro to it to pretty much attach it to anything that you want. So I put some Velcro back here, but I'm also going to be using a piece of Velcro strap to go around, kind of like a battery strap, but a little bit smaller, one that I found from using my Blade helicopters, an extra one that I had. So how do you work this fine piece of art? Who am I kidding? Alright, so on the front, you're going to find your little LCD screen here, which, although for its size, is very easy to read. It doesn't, however, have a backlight to it, so seeing it in the daytime, I didn't notice it to be a problem whatsoever, but at night, it might be a little bit more of an issue. Now, on the bottom, you're going to find your power button. This button, in order for it to turn on, you got to press it for a couple of seconds. It'll turn on, blah-de-blah. If you want to turn it off, you need to press and hold it until it says the word off on the LCD screen. Once you've done that, then you can let go of the button and it'll automatically shut itself off. When you first turn it on, you're going to need to allow it to find the GPS signal, which could take up to about 30 seconds or so. If you haven't used it in a while, or it's the first time that you're powering it up, it could take a little bit longer than that. But once you get the GPS signal, it seems to be fine. The time that I was testing it out for a good couple hours, I didn't notice that it lost the GPS signal as far as I could tell, so it holds on to it pretty well. Now on the left side of it, you're going to find an accessory port, right? They didn't specify what accessories would actually go with this or what that port entails as far as I could tell from the manual and looking online, but maybe it's something in the future that they're adding on to it, or maybe an update that'll allow it to connect to the receiver for future stuff. Who knows? But totally looks like a receiver port. Let's put it that way. On the top, you have your enter and mode buttons. The enter button allows it to start and stop recording. You don't have to be in a specific mode in order to watch just that mode. It will record all of the modes all at once, as far as the average and the peak numbers go. The current numbers and stuff, the exact time, that all is constant at that moment. But everything is recorded right onto the GPS unit here. To stop the recording, you just hit enter again. It'll say stop recording. And in order to just see the different modes, or to get into them, in other words, you want to press the mode button, obviously. Now on the left side, you're going to find your USB port. This will allow you to charge the GPS unit and use that same charging wire to upload all the information to the data logger that Dynamite has supplied on the computer, the program for it. But we'll get, again, more into that here. I'll show you guys where to go to download that and to get the software and so forth. And we'll kind of go over the software a little bit. So once I got this thing out of the box, looked over, figured out how it worked, I decided to set it up onto my son's Traxxas Rustler and take it down to a, relatively straight area just to kind of see how well it works, what the top speed of the Rustler was, which honestly I'm quite disappointed in it. So I will need to go brushless soon. So yeah, I took that out and decided to test it out, and this is the running video from that day. Afterwards, I decided to look at the data logger itself, or more, should I say, the GPS unit, and see what the numbers actually were, what the top speed was. So I went into the peak mode of the speed, and I saw that it read 47. I'm like, yes, 47, that's awesome. And then that's when I realized it was in kilometers an hour. Though, for those of you that don't know, 47 kilometers an hour equals out to approximately 26 miles per hour. As far as I can tell, kilometers an hour is what comes standard out of the box with it, so you will need to hook it up to your computer in order to get it changed over to miles per hour. But enough about that. Let's go take a look at the data logger from Dynamite and see how it works and see what it can do. Okay, so before we get into the data logger, I just want to put this out there. I don't have a screen recording program. I really wish I did. If anybody knows of a good one that can be used on Windows Media Player, Windows in general. If anyone knows of one, let me know. Put it in the comments section so I can do better with this. But I just took a few screenshots to kind of show you guys some of the features of the data logger and some of the things that you can find. Now, when you first try to work this thing, it is a little bit difficult, almost sort of to say. It took me about 10-15 minutes for it to actually make a connection to the data logger. But I'll walk you guys through kind of what I had to do in order for that to happen. Could have just been my simple little error. But when you first get to your computer, you want to go to horizonhobby.com, go look up the Dynamite Speed Meter itself, go into the manual and support section. You're going to find 2 downloadable tabs right when you get in there. It's going to be the second one. It'll say the PC program right with it. So once you've clicked on that and you've downloaded it to the computer, open up the program. And this is where it all begins. When you first open up the program, you're going to find that it looks like hell. The program itself almost looks like it came out of like a Windows 95 or a Windows 98 program. It's really nothing spectacular by any means, but it does what it says it's supposed to do. It records and downloads all the data from the GPS unit right onto the computer. You can save them as files and so forth. Now, in order for you to upload the information to it, the one thing that I found was to have the program open first. Then connect up the data logger to the computer, in other words, and then power on the data logger. You'll hear, if you have your volume up on your computer, you'll hear it go ding when the data logger reads that it's connected to the computer. It will also start charging at this time. It will not say that it is connected by any means whatsoever on the program or in the computer, technically. But what I had to do to get it to read was go into File in the upper left-hand corner, click on Read, and then it'll show a loading bar, and you'll see that it's reading from the GPS unit. And then as soon as it's done, it'll display the recordings there on the right-hand side. Now, if you click on that recording that you're viewing, you'll see on the satellite map on the left, it'll actually give you its location of that recording, and it'll give you the actual run layout, basically, of what it is that you kind of did, which is pretty cool. I mean, who wouldn't want to see that? So, you do that. You can save it as well in there. If you want to change from miles per hour to kilometers and so forth, and change the satellite hertz frequency, you can just go into the Configure tab in the upper left-hand corner, and it'll open up a second page which will allow you to change it from miles per hour to kilometer or back and forth, update the time zone, and change the frequency as well, and do an update to the data logger if there is one at that time. It's a pretty simple program. There's not a lot to it. All right, so that pretty much does it, you guys. Hopefully you guys found this thing pretty cool. I'm pretty excited about this because, like I had said, I'm now going to be able to show you guys how fast my trucks really are, how fast a new truck coming out is under different circumstances, you know, brushed motor, brushless, LiPo, NIM battery, and so forth. It's going to be really cool. So, if you guys got any more comments or questions about this data logger, feel free to post them below in the comments section. If you guys like this video, please share it on anywhere you can possibly do so. I would really appreciate that. And if you are not subscribed, hit that subscribe button and hit the bell next to it so you get notified of my next video. And until next time, you guys, I'll see you on the next RC Overload. Later!